And welcome in to Citadel Gray Line. I'm John Rawl. Slightly different look. We're on the road this week. We got Andrew Miller of the Charleston Post and Courier, as we will be on for the next 30, 45 minutes or so, talking about all things Bulldogs. If you would like to get involved with our All Citadel show, we certainly would love to hear you and hear what your feedback is. We had some good commentary come in since we were back on with you last week. 843-779-8496 is the way to get in touch with us here at the Gray Line again. 843-779-8496 is the way to get in touch with this. Thomas Scruggs is out today, so I'll be doing my best job here on the program talking about the Dogs. But we go now to our guy who covers the Dogs on a daily basis for the Charleston Post and Courier. That's one Andrew Miller. Hello, sir. Welcome into the Gray Line.
Well, thank you for having me, John. I still got to say, change of venue, still looking very dapper in that suit today.
Well, I would have looked better if I would have been in my normal location, but just didn't happen today, but I appreciate it. Andrew, you're a very special guy, but you're not the only special guy that's going to be part of our Citadel Gray Line broadcast today. If y'all hang around in just a very short while, we're going to have joining us a guy that knows how to win at the Citadel. Andrew, have you been keeping up with the Citadel volleyball team lately?
I have a little bit. I did a story on a girl named Sadie that was on the volleyball team, and she ended up spending the summer at the Space Force down in, I think, Alabama and in Florida. So do know a little bit about them. I know they're 12-0. I get reminded of that at every Maurice Drayton press conference. They're undefeated at 12-0, so they're off to a really good start this year.
And the head coach of the Citadel volleyball team will be joining us in just a few minutes. That's Dave Zelenock, and he's going to come on and talk about his team again. It started out 12-0 already this year. It's going to be all about winning when we talk about Citadel volleyball in a few minutes. But Andrew, right now though, unfortunately, we've got to talk about losing the Citadel football team with yet again another L on the ledger as they get a tough game on the road at Chattanooga, and the Mocs. They plowed over them with the Chattanooga Railroad choo-choo.
Yeah, they sure did. They were, people got to remember that Chattanooga was one of the teams to win the SoCon last year. I thought they underperformed last year. This year, it certainly looks like they have the talent to contend for a Southern Conference championship. Obviously, with Sanford kind of getting upset by Western Carolina a couple weeks ago. That kind of opens everything up in the Southern Conference for that race for the championship and the top seed and then obviously getting to the FCS playoffs. But Chattanooga is a very talented team. They had a quarterback transfer from UCLA, so he played 4 years at UCLA and now he's in the FCS, and that gave them I thought, a huge advantage. But they've got size and speed. They got that Elite Ford, who's a great running back. 3 really good wide receivers, a big dominant offensive line. Defensively, we know how good they are. Person is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Defensive lineman made a couple of plays, had a sack and a tackle for loss against them. So they're a very talented team, and I think this might be their year to contend for the SoCon championship. I think it'll be them, and I think it'll be Furman. And I think Mercer too, and obviously Western Carolina's got some people in as well. So 4 teams in the top 25 in the FCS poll this week, and the SoCon might be the best FCS conference in the country this year.
And one thing, going back to that Chattanooga loss for the Citadel, the offense continues to struggle. The defense seems to struggle as well. Didn't I hear something about 8 of the first 9 drives Chattanooga had, they put points on the board?
That is correct. And I think Maurice Drayton expected some growing pains with the offense, and I think that's obviously what we're seeing on the field. But what I don't think he expected was the defense to struggle like this. Now, they've gone from a 4-3 to a 3-4 alignment, but the overall basic scheme hasn't changed that much, considering that they've just changed the schematics a little bit there. So I think he's a little bit surprised by that. They got a lot of veteran guys who played a lot of football for the Bulldogs over the years that are on defense. I think one of the issues is that one of the ways in the past running the triple option that the Citadel was able to protect the defense was they had these long, sustained offensive drives, and the other team, whoever they were playing that day, didn't get a lot of possessions. And if you notice, in the first 3 games, all the teams, Georgia Southern, Campbell, Chattanooga, have all gotten a lot more possessions than the Citadel defense is used to giving up. And I think that's part of the problem. Maurice Drayton also pointed out after the game, getting off the field on 3rd down plays. They had a couple of chances, especially in the first half, to get off the field. When they had 3rd downs, facing their defenses and just couldn't come up with a stop. So, I think those are kind of the problems that both sides of the ball are having. I do think, though, that South Carolina State is a game that they can win. This is the first time that I think athletically, schematically, this is a good matchup for them. I know it's on the road. It's up in Orangeburg. It's SC State's home opener. It's Buddy Pugh's retirement tour here going. But I do think they have a good shot at winning up in Orangeburg.
All right, he's saying there's a chance to win, and this game in Orangeburg, South Carolina, does have a little historical significance, only because Citadel football teams of the 40s, 50s, and I think even into the 60s played at the old Orangeburg County Fairgrounds against teams like South Carolina. They played Wofford there. I think they even played Furman on occasion. So some history of the Citadel Corps of Cadets getting on trains and going up to Orangeburg. I don't think they're going to be getting on a train this week when they play SC State. I believe it is the first time the Citadels ever played at O.C. Dawson Stadium. They have played SC State in years past. And Andrew, fun fact here for you. I was at the very first Citadel SC State game, and I bet you were too. It was the fall of actually it was September, late September, maybe early October of 1989. Were you at Williams-Brice Stadium?
I was not. I think we had probably just gotten our power back after Hurricane Hugo. But I remember the game, and I did get something wrong in the paper, and I apologize to all of our readers about that. Somebody had told me at the Citadel that the game was supposed to be played that season in '89 in Orangeburg, when it was actually originally scheduled at Johnson-Hagan Stadium, but because of Hurricane Hugo, it got moved to Columbia and Williams-Brice Stadium. And then I think they were supposed to play a couple of years later in Orangeburg, but then that game got moved to Charleston. So, no, I was, long story short, no, I was not at that game. I was covering high school football back in the day during that time.
Yes, in 1989, the Citadel actually played 2 home football games at Williams-Brice Stadium in the rain against SC State, and then on a very beautiful Sunday afternoon, they played the Western Carolina Catamounts, a game that ended up, you know what the final score was? I won't tell you the exact total, but do you know who won?
I do not.
Nobody won. It was a tie.
Remember
the good old days
back
of
when
ties?
They didn't go overtime. Wow.
Yeah, back in the days of ties, that happened at Williams-Brice Stadium. Thank you, University of South Carolina. Back when they were nice to the Citadel, they would let the Bulldogs come up there and play. I don't think they'd let us do that now because we've beaten 2 of the last 3 times in sports. So we got this game at Orangeburg. It's a personal game for Maurice Drayton. In his weekly press conference, he talked about how Coach Buddy Poe, he has a long history with him, and now and the coach gave him a chance to come be a college football assistant in Orangeburg. So we actually have the chance, first time this year, that we can go in and hear some of Maurice Drayton's weekly press conference. Let's go hear the head coach of the Bulldogs talking about this upcoming matchup and more about his football team. Here is the Citadel's head football coach, Coach Drayton. By the way, wearing a beautiful T-shirt at the press conference this week.
But the disappointing part, right, we'll just jump right into it. And we always owe the truth to our supporters, those who invest their time. So the truth is, we paraded around as if we were ready to get on a bus, go 8 hours, stay in our first hotel overnight trip away from home, and we weren't ready. We live by 4 pillars. Those pillars: team first, be on time, no excuses, be a man. And
sorry to interrupt the coach there. I'm not sure if that was coming through or not, but that was supposed to be Maurice Drayton. We'll just assume it wasn't coming through based on some of the reaction we're getting. By the way, we appreciate all of you who help bring Citadel Gray Line to us each and every week. We have some great sponsors of the program: IPS Packaging and Automation, as well as Franklin Plumbing and drain cleaning in the Columbia area. Daybreak Adult Care, as well as Pedigo Electric Bikes. I'm going to tell you more about those great sponsors as we move on in the program. IPS Packaging and Automation is a name you can trust since back in the bicentennial year of 1976. IPS Packaging and Automation has been providing manufacturers and e-commerce companies with the very best packaging products and automation in the entire industry. IPS offers a complete line of packaging products from stretch films and 3M tapes to corrugated boxes, strapping, and equipment automation. IPS Packaging and Automation, based in Fountain Inn, South Carolina. They're going to analyze and streamline your current methods to improve your packaging products. For products, give them a call at 800-277-7007 to learn more, or go to the website ipack.com. That's ipack.com. IPS Packaging and Automation is a proud supporter of Citadel Athletics, and we appreciate them bringing Citadel Greyline to you each and every week. So again, this week, as Andrew says, going to likely be an opportunity for the Bulldogs to put a W up on the board. Just a little bit of a recap. SC State has already played 2 FBS opponents. They played, who did they play? Georgia Tech and
who? Charlotte.
Charlotte. And that Charlotte game was maybe a little closer than some might have thought.
Well, I think it was, 24-3 or 34-3?
Something like
that. 24-3, yeah. So, yeah, a little bit closer, but you know, that's a game that I think Buddy thought they would play a little bit tighter even than that. So, but yeah, both teams will be looking for a win. Both teams will be extremely hungry. So it should be pretty interesting Saturday night up in Orangeburg.
Well, again, it's going to be an opportunity to get a W on the column, and a much important way to turn around what's been so far a horrible season. In fact, do you have that totals? I saw it somewhere posted the other day of all the points scored against the Citadel compared to the points the Citadel has scored. That second part's easy. I believe it's 7.
That's 10.
10.
They kicked a field goal against Chattanooga, so I got 10. I think it was 134
to 10
or 136 to 10. Yes, that is not the recipe for getting a lot of wins there.
No, and you wrote a good article this week that you can find at postandcourier.com all about sin, and it wasn't a religious article.
No, it was not. Sins is self-inflicted negatives. That's what Maurice Drayton calls them. And then the sports editor here, Jeff Hartzell, who obviously used to cover the Citadel for years. And he's a good Catholic man. He go forth and sin no more, something like that. That was the headline, and I thought that was very clever.
Oh, very clever. Well, we will have all the breakdown of this game at SC State and the hopeful win for this program is maybe they can get a W before the month of September comes to conclusion. It's the Citadel Bulldogs and the South Carolina State Bulldogs, I think for the 3rd or 4th time. What number are we on?
I think this is the 5th, yeah. Citadel 4-0 against the Bulldogs all the time.
And to the Citadel's defense, one time they were supposed to play, and SC State canceled it to go to play in one of those deals where they go off and face up against another HBCU. So that's one of those cancellations was because of something like that. But I think a lot of fans are looking forward. And as Maurice Drayton said this week, hint to all Bulldog fans, the last 2 SoCon teams that showed up in Orangeburg at Dawson Stadium left that place with an L. That would be Furman and I believe Wofford.
That is correct. Yep. And both teams did not come away with a win. That Furman team was a pretty good team that went in there and lost. But that's when Buddy had things kind of going there for a while. He has unfortunately fallen on a little bit tougher times here in the last 4 or 5 seasons because of COVID and because of some of the financial issues at South Carolina State.
Well, we'll be here to break it down. Speaking of South Carolina FCS teams, how about the Presbyterian Blue Hose? Got to give them a shout out as they knocked off Wofford this past weekend. Not a good sign for the SoCon, but PC with a non-scholarship team gets the W against their old foe in Wofford this weekend. Anything else before we start talking volleyball? Andrew, from you? Okay, why are we paused like that? We'll just keep on trucking here, and maybe everybody will come back. Apologize, we were having some on-the-road issues here today.
But,
I'm sorry, I lost you there. Say that again, Andrew.
I was gonna say, well, I know one thing for sure: the Bulldogs will win this weekend, and I think this is a game that, yes, the Citadel has a very good shot at winning.
All right, let's hope so. Well, winning seems to be something that's not been a problem for Dave Zelenock and the Citadel Volleyball team. They are a perfect 12-0, a dozen victories in their column already this year. And let's go now to the Charleston campus and welcome in the head coach of the, what would you call a volleyball team? They're not the Diamond, like the Diamond Dogs. They're not the Gridiron Dogs. Help us out, Coach. What's y'all's nickname?
I don't know, just the volleyball players.
Just volleyball players? All right. Well, welcome in, sir.
We're nothing special.
Okay, it's our first time having you aboard, and welcome to Citadel Gray Line. And we won't be too mean to you here, but kudos on the great success.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, and the Bulldog volleyball team, as we said, off to a great start. And some of those wins you've had along the way, Coach, have been quite surprising. You've pretty much got the local teams, you've knocked them off with a victory over the College of Charleston. That was awesome. You beat South Carolina State twice already. You beat Charleston Southern. I don't know if they have a volleyball cup or trophy, but you deserve one.
Yeah, we've actually, all the coaches, 3 D1s in the same city. We've been thinking about kind of starting something like that, where every year it would rotate who hosts it, and so it's something we're extended South Carolina get together at one in time and play it.
Yeah, well, it's been a very, very good thing to watch. Of course, your team sitting at 12-0 has some tough games. You got SoCon play ahead. In fact, that's your upcoming games on the road at Chattanooga, and we know the Mocs have a very, they as well as other SoCon teams have a good history in volleyball. But hey, we don't want to leave out the fact that your team won the Southern Conference. We haven't had a chance to talk to you about that since y'all won that right when we were going off the air. Was it last year or the year before?
Year before.
Okay, year before. You won that right when we were signing off for the year. And that's the first SoCon title the Citadel's had in any sport in a long, long time.
Yeah, I'm told it was the first ever in a female sport here. Wow. And then I don't know as far as other sports how long. I know football won it, before I was here, and some other teams have won it. Last year, Rifle had a win there too. So hopefully we started something and everyone starts winning.
Yeah. Well, it's a tradition. Like I said, SoCon champions 2 years ago, and now you've got this great start to this season. Tell me about some of your players. Who are some of the keys to your victories thus far?
I think, the one that everyone pays attention to is Allie Ruffin. She's a junior. Her freshman year, she was SoCon Freshman of the Year, and she's only gotten better since then. If you look across the SoCon, I think it's a 2-person race maybe for Player of the Year. She's a really dynamic player for us. Going across the net, both our middles are homegrown grads, so this is their 5th year playing for us. That's Maddie and Gina, and they're doing a really good job, respectively, playing the middle positions, M1, M2, which it's a really nerdy thing to get into what the difference is, but they both do a really good job at what they're supposed to. Belle Hogan's been running the show since she got here as a freshman and won a SoCon title as a setter. It's been pretty hard to get her off the floor. And then we got a freshman, Angelina Sales, who she was Gatorade Player of the Year from her state. She's stepped into a starting role here, and we've kind of shifted her around between the left side and the right side. But wherever we put her, she's very productive.
Awesome. Well, we seem to have a little bit of a camera problem here, so let me see if I can't solve. Okay, there we are with that.
Yeah, less of me is always better.
Yeah, well, let me drop you for a second. Let me just take over this thing for a minute, and if you'll reconnect to me, Coach, because I don't know where the problem lies. Go ahead, drop me, and come back if you don't mind. Meanwhile, let me tell you about one of our other great sponsors here on Citadel Gray Line, and that is Daybreak Adult Care Services. They're in the Midlands of South Carolina, and they do a great job. If you have a loved one that may need some adult help, maybe full-time or part-time or more, it won't hurt to contact Daybreak Adult Care Services, as they have plenty of options for you to consider. And Coker Day is an alumnus and head of that organization. that's based again in the Columbia area of South Carolina. Daybreak Adult Care Services, they do a great job. I've known people personally who've used their services before, and the care and the attention they get was just something that helped in their latter years as Daybreak Adult Care came in on that great service there. Again, if you are in need, you may want to definitely consider Coker Day, the Citadel alum, and his company, Daybreak Adult Care Services. Also want to let you know about Pedigo Electric Bikes, as the same guy that I was just bragging about, Coker Day, has Pedigo available in both Aiken and in West Columbia, South Carolina. Pedigo Electric Bikes, if you've not had an opportunity to go off on a electric bike ride, you should definitely consider that, because I haven't done it. Thomas, who's normally here with me, he's done it a lot and brags about how fun it is. It's a great date night for you and Honey. If y'all want to go ride around, they've got the, I know they've got the rentals available for his Soda City location, which is West Columbia, South Carolina. You can go to Pedigo Electric Bikes and get linked to them for their locations again in Aiken and in Soda City. And both Daybreak Adult Care Services and Pedigo presented to us here on Citadel Gridiron, courtesy of Coker Day and his fine lineup of companies. Now, let's see if we don't have a better connection here. This is this 21st century stuff we got to deal with, Coach. And you did a good job getting through this. You had to recruit. Let's talk about this subject. You had to recruit while COVID was going on. So you've done a whole lot, I'm assuming, of this video stuff with players from all over the world.
Yeah. I mean, here we cast a pretty wide net. So if you look at our roster, we're all over the country. And during COVID, that's when we got, I think, Bell and Allie. Those were kids who never stepped foot on campus until they showed up for matriculation day. So that was just, us showing them around through a video camera, like, hey, this is what it would look like if you're in first, and this is what the gym looks like. We just had to improvise and figure things out, and they kind of took a leap of faith and came here, and it's worked out for us. That's really the only class that was really, really badly impacted by the recruiting side. But then, our seniors this year, they were here as freshmen during the COVID stuff, and that was just a lot of crazy things going on, and we find a way to make it work.
Well, I know Andrew, who's kind enough to stick around here for this volleyball segment. Andrew, you said earlier you had a chance to do a feature on one of the volleyball players that Coach has. Tell us about that article and what you found out.
Yeah, Sadie was, and I'm not sure what position she plays. All I know is that she was very tall.
She's 6'5", yeah.
6'5", yeah, and she spent the summer at the Space Force, and that was kind of something that when she got to the Citadel, she wasn't sure. At least this is what she told me. She wasn't sure exactly what she wanted to do. She wanted to go the Air Force route. That seemed to be her military branch of choice. And then somebody back home, I guess in Ohio, told her about Space Force, a Marine buddy of hers, and she kind of looked into it and then got more and more interested into it. And now, after the summer that she spent in, again, I think it was Alabama and Florida, she's really very excited about continuing her career. And Space Force isn't about like being an astronaut and stuff like that. It's about the way that the United States military is going to protect the satellites and all the stuff that goes on that I don't think people realize how important those satellites and things in outer space are and how much they impact our lives on a day-to-day basis. Just GPS, for an example, would be one of those things. And she really got excited about that, and that sounds like her career path here moving forward. And super nice girl. And just I'll be very interested to see where this path takes her in her life.
Yep, Cadet Mrs. Gomez, and you got her out of Louisiana. And was she one of those that you recruited virtually?
No, so she actually went to NIMI, the New Mexico Military Institute, and so she went there for a year, and then we got her. So she actually did 2 knob years. Because you have to knob there, and then she came here, and we convinced her to do it again. So she signed up for a second round of all that fun stuff. So she was at a JUCO. Her plan originally was to go into one of the academies, and it just fell through at the end. So she went there because NIMI is a feeder for I think Army mostly, but we kind of picked her off before they had a chance to get her back.
Wow, 6'5". You know, I'm 6'4". I don't know if I've ever. This is just me, I guess, not being a worldly guy. I don't know if I've ever had to look up to a female. So I'm looking forward to looking up to her.
You're gonna have to come to a game, and I'll introduce you.
Yeah,
I look up to her every day. I'm only like 5'11", so half my team's bigger than me.
Wow. Well, I won't try to outdo Andrew or you with my volleyball knowledge, but I remember when the libero position was added in volleyball some 20 years ago or so. Is that something that you utilize a lot of, or how does that work?
Yeah, libero is, the person who wears the different color jersey. So if you're watching the game, you'll see one person in an opposite jersey. All it means is their subs don't count. They can go in and out kind of freely between plays for a person.
Mm-hmm.
That it kind of helped the shorter players get on the court, because volleyball was getting so big and so athletic, and there really wasn't a home for those shorter players. So they really can specialize on defense. They never get to go in the front row and hit or anything like that. They just focus on defense. And, last year, I think we had the biggest size discrepancy on a team, because our libero was 4'10" and Sadie was 6'5". So we had the biggest difference, I think, anywhere around.
Man, that's awesome. So I remember going back 2 years ago. I don't want to go too far back in the past, but look, what you did by winning that Southern Conference was amazing. You did that over at Sanford, and that was a big shocker, right? Did anybody really have the Citadel winning that thing when they went to Hoover that year? Not Hoover, to Homewood that year?
Birmingham. Just us.
Just you, okay.
The way that we run things is we kind of put everything on the SoCon tournament. It's not that we don't want to win these regular season games, but we kind of view them as like tests throughout the year, but the final exam is the tournament. So, we just try to make sure we're learning from those regular season games, and whether we win or lose, just make sure we're learning a lesson so that when we get to the tournament, we can apply it. But we ran, I think, like 9 lineups that year, just trying to find the right thing. And then we really settled in about 3 weeks before and said, all right, this is what we're going to roll into the tournament with.
And then I think y'all went to Georgia Tech for the playoff, and yeah, it was a very good thing that y'all made it to a place like that, to Atlanta to play Tech, and your season unfortunately came to an end there. But just the fact that y'all made it, postseason unfortunately is not a common thing in Citadel athletics, so that was a great thing. And I believe you were the first women's program to make a postseason.
Yes, I think the NCAA tournament, yeah, but I think us and soccer both have had of late quite a bit of success in the SoCon tournament of making some runs here and there. But I think they'll pick it up this year, and this might be their year to win the tournament. Then Kieran and I can debate on which is the top team, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, women's athletics is only a 20-year experiment or so at the Citadel, but you've been around long enough now. You've got alumni, I'm sure, that help your program out and help build your Citadel volleyball program. So tell me about the role of Citadel alumni, specifically the volleyball alumni, who've come in and helped you.
We've had some that are local, that are engaged with the program, and they'll have the team over for a dinner, or they come back. But we're really trying to reconnect with them, because a lot of our alumni from the far years past maybe didn't have the greatest experience as a female here in the early days, so they're not super into reaching back out. So we've had to do a lot of that, trying to get people to come back in the gym. A lot of times it's their first time ever coming back to campus in 10 or 15 years is to come to one of our games and see kind of how the program's grown, and then sign our alumni wall that we have. And we try to give them some time with the team. Like, we'll stop practice if an alumni shows up and give them 20-30 minutes if they want it, to kind of share stories about, hey, what was your now year like, and what are some of the things that went on during your career here. And so our girls have a connection to the past, and they understand sort of how far it's come, and what people have sacrificed to get us where we are.
Man, that's great. 20 or 30 minutes. They would have a whole lot to say to y'all if that is indeed what you're giving them there.
I usually walk away and just let them and the girls have time, and I just go do some recruiting emails or something.
And this is this year here marks what year for you at the Citadel?
Andrew would probably know better than I would. I think 6. Is that right?
I think that is correct, yes.
Okay.
Our
Sounds
Citadel
right.
volleyball insider, Andrew Miller, the
There you go.
Post and Courier. Andrew, I'm going to shut up. I'm sure you've got a question or two for the coach.
No, I think obviously the win over the College of Charleston, and I don't know what the all-time series is like, but I'm assuming that they would. This is only your second win, then, yeah. So that's That's a huge deal, and usually the college is one of, if not competing for a CAA championship, they're in the upper echelon of that conference. So that's a huge win for you, Dave. Congratulations on that. And who are the best teams in the SoCon, and who's going to kind of who are the battles going to be there for when you get to the tournament?
Oh, I mean, based on the pre-conference, it's hard to say. I think this upcoming weekend is really, really tough for us. Chat has the best record after us, and their style does not match up well with us, so we have to be a little bit more careful than usual. Samford, I think, has won it 4 out of 5 years. The only year they didn't was when we won it. So they're just every year just reloading, and they're just a really good program, and he's a great coach. But the preseason poll had ETSU winning it, and I don't know that they've won, or maybe they have one match so far. But they played some really, really good teams, so you can't really judge it by the pre-conference. We'll see how it shakes out. I'm always nervous playing Wofford just because she does such a good job, and they have like the deepest bench, and they have like 25 girls over there who are all bigger than the next one. And but there's really no gimmies. Like, we were the gimme when I got here for most of the teams, and now it's cleaned up so much. Every night is really quite a fight.
Well, 12 straight. I will bring that up. You must have some kind of superstition going on with 12 consecutive wins.
No, not really. We're very routine. We do the same thing over and over, win or lose, with how we prepare for games and how afterwards we deal with things. But no, I'm not a very superstitious person. The streak is great. I'm happy it's there. I know we're not going to go undefeated for the year, so it's going to get broken at some point, and then we'll just try and start another one.
And I was looking up streaks at the Citadel the other day, being a little bit of an old timer, and that 1992. Well, I guess you go back to just 2016. Brent Thompson's first year, the Citadel won their first, 10 games, but then they ended up losing that 11th game, which was a game at UNC. So 10 was the most he could get. And then Citadel baseball, back in that magical 1990 season, of which they went to the College World Series, I think they had a winning streak of around 30 wins that year. Were you covering Chowport's team,
Andrew? I was not. Okay. No, I was still doing high schools at that point, but I do remember the run that they went on. And the interesting thing about that is that I remember after the conference tournament, and I think it was after the SoCon conference tournament, they ended up playing Clemson. Clemson came down to Charleston and played them like in an exhibition game before they actually went to the regional, because I think they were like a week before or something. And I just remember they just crushed Clemson. And I really felt like, or maybe it was between the regional and the World Series, I can't remember, but it was after the SoCon tournament at some point. And they just drilled Clemson, and that's the first time I thought, you know what, these guys have a chance maybe to go pretty far.
Yes, but kudos to that 1990 baseball team, and kudos to this 2023. Y'all only play in 23, so I better hush and not give y'all the benefit of 24 yet. The 2023 Citadel Volleyball team is doing something I don't think anybody else has done, at least to my knowledge, with this tremendous run. Coach, what can the Citadel fans do? What can people like us do to help your program along?
The nice thing is our games are free, so it doesn't cost anything to get in. We always play better at home when there's a crowd. So we've had a few matches where, we had a good amount of the core come out. We had like 900 cadets one time, and that was coming off of a loss where we lost in 5. We played the same team 2 days later and crushed them 3-0, just having that fan base there. I don't know, the girls like to show off in front of their peers or whatever, but anytime we have a decent crowd, we tend to play better. Come out and watch. Most of the time people come out and watch, win or lose. You do get a good show because it's fast, it's exciting, it's loud, everything's a point. It's not like some of the other sports that you can go 10 minutes and the score is still 0-0 or low. There's a lot of points getting scored, and it's at least our style, we play very aggressive. So when we're on, which we have been lately, it's a pretty good show to watch. Even when we're bad, we're going for it.
Do you have concessions at your volleyball matches?
I don't know. I'm on the bench. I haven't wandered out there to see. I think so. because I've seen some people eating popcorn, but I don't really pay much attention to what's going on out there.
I would take that as a yes if they've got popcorn.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a great time. And again, this is a winning program that the Citadel has put together. And congratulations to you and to all of your volleyball players 6'5" and below that are doing such a great job. Andrew, anything else you have for the coach?
No, just congratulations on that. And obviously, Dave has built a program because, getting there and getting that thing started, I know was a chore when they first started the volleyball program. And obviously, Dave has built on that foundation and done a great job. He's building a program, not just a one season, as Maurice Drayton likes to say. So he's done a great job there, no doubt about it.
Thanks.
All right, Dave Zelenock, thank you for your time today. And we look forward for you finishing up this undefeated season.
Don't bet on that.
Oh, come on.
Do our best, though.
Well, come on. We're believing in you, Coach. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
All right, and that just about wraps things up here on the Gray Line, but I do want to let y'all know all about a great partner that we have here at the Citadel Gray Line, and that is Franklin. Franklin helps us out with their great service available in the Columbia area. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Give them a call at 803-281-2974. 803-281-2974 is the number for you to reach out for this company that helps out, a Citadel alumni-driven company, as they're a full-service plumbing, gas, drain, and sewer company with 24 emergency hour services available most days of the week. Hey, Andrew, I know you've always wanted a sewer replacement. Well, you'll get a $250 off coupon if you go to their website, franklinplumbing.sc.com. And Franklin Plumbing, a proud presenter of Citadel Gray Line this week, as well as every week through the 2023 season. Check it out, Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, servicing the central portion of South Carolina. Well, Andrew, we wish you the best of luck in your journey to Orangeburg. And you'll be back here next week to break it all down for us. And hopefully we'll have Mr. Scruggs on with us as well. Have a great rest of your week, sir.
Have a great week there, John, and all the Bulldog fans. I'll see you up in Orangeburg.
All right. And a very special thank you again to Andrew, as well as Dave Zelenock, head coach of the Citadel Volleyball team. Again, they're on the road at Chattanooga Friday, which the Lady Dogs, Spike is supposed to be our Bulldog mascot. And Spike's usually the name of a Bulldog or a common nickname. Maybe he got that name because of what volleyball players do, spiking the ball. And those Bulldogs are spiking their way to a bunch of victories, and we wish them continued success. Until we see you next time here on Citadel Gray Line, thank you very much for joining us, and y'all have a great rest of your weekend. Fall.